Venezuela's president is to ask Interpol to issue a red alert for the arrest of his former Attorney General, Luisa Ortega Diaz, on corruption grounds. Ortega and her lawmaker husband fled to Colombia last Friday after alleging political persecution. They've now moved on to Brazil. Both countries have echoed Ortega's condemnation of President Nicolas Maduro's handling of Venezuela's current crisis. In his latest address, Maduro lashed out at his neighbours, criticising Colombian President Juan Manuel Santos for offering Ortega protection in the first place. He then turned his attention to Brazil, describing the government of President Michel Temer as illegal. Maduro recently set up a new constitutional authority pact with his allies, which then removed Ortega from office. She's claiming evidence implicating Maduro in the bribery scandal involving Brazilian construction firm Odebrecht.
There were clashes in Phoenix, Arizona, after police fired pepper spray and gas to disperse protesters outside a rally held by US President Donald Trump. Trump defended his response to a white supremacist organised rally in Virginia and took potshots at the media, whom he accused of ignoring his calls for unity.
Tonight, this entire arena stands united in forceful condemnation of the thugs who perpetrate hatred and violence. But the very dishonest media, those people right up there with all the cameras, just like they don't want to report that I spoke out forcefully against hatred, bigotry, and violence, and strongly condemned the neo-Nazis, the white supremacists, and the KKK.
The protests follow a poll by the Washington Post and ABC News that found almost 60% of Americans disapproved of Trump's response to the clashes at the Unite the Right rally.
One of the suspects in last week's Barcelona terror attack has reportedly told a court the Islamist militant cell had planned using gas cylinders to make a powerful bomb, guided by instructions found on the internet. The group are said to have been planning a major attack on churches and monuments. The court was told an imam led the group of mainly young Moroccans, coaching them in jihad, teaching them that martyrdom is good. Tuesday's court hearing was the first in a long legal process. It could be months or even years before the case is brought to a full trial. After the day-long court hearing, one of the suspects has been released on condition that he does not leave Spain. The three others will remain in police custody, one for further investigation. Two have been charged with membership of a terrorist group and murder. One was further charged with possession of explosives. The plan to target monuments went wrong while the plotters were making the explosive devices a day before the Barcelona attacks. That killed the imam and another man. The survivors hurried to change tactics and used a car as a weapon to kill 13 people.
They're perhaps not the most attractive feature of Hieronymus Monastery in Lisbon, but the Portuguese authorities are hoping that these concrete security barriers will help prevent the type of vehicle attacks seen elsewhere in Europe. Despite this, Portugal's still considered to be one of the world's safest tourist destinations, and at 3 out of 5, its threat level remains moderate.
It will stop cars, but you can't. I don't think you can prevent all the attacks that has happened so far, because it's just so easy to go around. You can't stop every single person. So it's I think it's a good thing. So you can't have cars running over.
Concrete barriers look set to become more of a feature at tourist sites across the globe, with London installing them on 3 bridges following terror attacks in the spring.
The tourists are flocking back to Paris. After a catastrophic year in 2016, the French capital saw a surge in the number of visitors in the first 6 months of the year. Hotels took in over 16 million tourists, the highest increase in 10 years. The terrorist attacks in Paris and Nice had a devastating effect last year, but now more and more people are travelling again, with Americans leading the way.
I think a lot of places it seems like there's more terrorist attacks around the world, but I think that if you stop traveling just because of that, that's what they want, you know, and I think we don't want to live in fear.
Britain is the only nation to send fewer visitors to Paris in the early part of this year. Tourist authorities estimate the decline of just under 2% is due to the uncertainty surrounding Brexit. But they say Asians as well as Americans are thinking again after staying away. If the Chinese, the Japanese and so many international customers veered away from our destination last year, it was because they were highly sensitive to questions of security and afraid, is Paris still a safe city? Paris expects another boost of confidence given the likelihood that it'll host the Olympics in 2024, but there are no premature celebrations. The city knows that atrocities such as last week's attacks in and near Barcelona could have a negative impact on tourism in other European cities, and the situation remains fragile.
Dramatic new pictures show the extent of the damage on the Italian island of Ischia following a magnitude 4 earthquake. 4 people are confirmed dead, with more than 40 injured. Geologists say an earthquake of this level should not have caused such damage. Francesco Peduto, president of the National Council of Geologists, said, "Illegal building is a big problem with houses built quickly, without proper geological technical checks, and with poor quality cement." The search and rescue is ongoing after a child was pulled from the rubble yesterday. The island is trying to get back to everyday life, but more than 2,000 people have been displaced and are waiting for the green light to return to their homes.
Hong Kong has been battered by a powerful typhoon as weather authorities raised the hurricane threat to 10 for the first time in 5 years. Offices and schools were closed, the stock market suspended trading, and hundreds of flights were cancelled. Typhoon Hato brought with it gusts of up to 192 kilometres per hour. The Hong Kong Observatory warned residents to be prepared for destructive winds, possible flooding and landslip. Low-lying areas were at particular risk of severe flooding due to storm surges. Hato has no plans to stick around, however. It's on its way to mainland China, where thousands of people have been evacuated and waves of up to 10 metres high are expected in the South China Sea. It's more Battle of the Titans than David and Goliath. Walmart, the world's biggest retailer, and Google are teaming up in an attempt to beat Amazon at its own game. Amazon has long dominated global e-commerce across multiple sectors and recently muscled in on the online groceries market, paying €12.5 billion for organic food retailer Whole Foods. Its success is in part due to Prime, which members pay for, in contrast with Google Express and Walmart, which both recently axed their fees. The duo hope to build a strong voice shopping offer and to give consumers a greater range of purchasing options.
E de momento para o espaço comercial, ora no Stobek e Deporte CBA.
É programa com mais de uma década de informação.